in the Congo. I walked to the Fertile Crescent and built the Sphinx. I designed a pyramid so tough that a star that only glows every 100 years falls into the center, giving divine, perfect light. I am bad. I sat on the throne drinking nectar with Allah. I got hot and sent an ice age to Europe to cool my thirst. My oldest daughter is Nefertiti. The tears from my birth pains created the Nile. I am a beautiful woman. I gazed on the forest and burned out the Sahara Desert. With a packet of goat's meat and a change of clothes, I crossed it in 2 hours. I am a gazelle. So swift, you can't catch me. For a birthday present when he was 3, I gave my son Hannibal an elephant. He gave me Rome for Mother's Day. My strength flows ever on. My son Noah built New Ark, and I stood proudly at the helm as we sailed on a soft summer day. I turned myself into myself and was Jesus, men intone my loving name. All praises, I am the one who would save. I sow diamonds in my backyard. My bowels deliver uranium. The filings from my fingernails are semi-precious jewels. On a trip north, I caught a cold and blew my nose, giving oil to the Arab world. I am so hip, even my errors are correct. I sailed west to reach east and had to round off the earth as I went. The hair from my head thinned and gold was laid across 3 continents. I am so perfect, so divine, so ethereal, so surreal. I cannot be comprehended except by my permission. I mean, I can fly like a bird in the sky.
Welcome to Paradigm Shift TV 314. This is your brother, Pianki Patamatulu Neferamun Ra. And today I got another powerful show for you. We have a powerful sister in the house, but before I introduce her, or better yet, have her introduce herself, I'm gonna do my usual greeting. I'm gonna say Hotep to all my fellow Kemetic brothers and sisters. I'm gonna say God bless to all my Christian brothers and sisters. I'm gonna say Assalamu alaikum to all my brothers and sisters in the NOI. I'm gonna say Islam to all my Moorish brothers and sisters. And I'm gonna say Jambo to the rest of my brothers and sisters throughout the African diaspora, be it here in the wilderness of the United States of America or beyond. I say that greeting for one reason and one reason only. It's because if you Black, I'm with you, and I hope that you are with me. Our differences shouldn't keep us from uniting. We can disagree without being disrespectfully disagreeable. And with that, my sister, please introduce yourself.
All right. So my name's Tiffany. As you can see, I'm Tiffany French. And I have a YouTube channel called Tiffany French Channel. I'm also a part of Team O.S.I.R.I.S. As a matter of fact, we have a sister branch which is called Team O.S.I.R.I.S. So yeah, I am part of Team O.S.I.R.I.S. Also, I do a lot of talk daily dealing with a lot on African-American history. So that's my main thing, like focusing on African-American history or, just Black history in general. But I talk about other subject matters. I can talk about some science, some social science like sociology, psychology, and I like to get into neuroscience here and there and talk about social issues, political issues or whatnot. I grew up in the South, particularly. I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. I was born in Ohio. I was born in the Midwest, but I came here I came in the South as a child. So ever since then, that Southernness has been stuck with me for a long time. And, it's been with me everywhere I went. And what really got me started to do my YouTube channel, well, I already had the channel, but I just never really posted videos like that. And what got me started to do videos was because on Facebook, it's so interesting. For one, I would put up stuff. I used to put up a lot of information on my page. Or let's say if I say something, people will come on there and they'll debate it. They'll try to, it'll be a debate back and forth. So I got tired of just typing back and forth all day long, because after a while you feel like you're about to have arthritis. So I said, you know what? Okay, I started off doing videos on Facebook. Yeah, that's the thing. I started off doing videos on Facebook. Then I said, okay, I'm going to eventually do a channel on YouTube, but it's going to be more focused on dealing with more so history, like Black history, because I noticed that a lot of information are not really coming out to our people, and especially, within the conscious community. And there's some good sources in the conscious community. Don't get me wrong. I like to hear about, information dealing with ancient Egypt and, different things like that. But there's a lot of misinformation that's going on too at the same time, a lot of it. And on top of that, I feel like we should be able to go beyond ancient Egypt and look at our ancestry, which is Central West Africa, because that's where a lot of our people came from, and they were brought over here to America against their own will. So I'm like, okay, we're focusing so much on ancient Egyptian culture, which is, again, I have nothing against that. But what about those in the Central West African region? What about those who have made a contribution here in America? And so I said, let me start digging up some information. Let me start digging more into it, and let me put it out on the forefront. So, there's other channels that's doing that. Shout out to NBK, shout out to New Black Knowledge. I see them, they doing their thing. Brother Kofi Pazai TV, shout out to them. So there's a lot of other channels doing, but I just want to make sure that we become more consistent and be more used to our people, because people really think that our folks haven't really done much, or like they feel like our people ain't really got into much science, or what I'm saying, it's just, again, they just been misled and told many things that was not really true. So I said, you know what, I'm not going to sit up here and just type on the keyboards all day long or type on my phone all day. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna show some sources, I'm gonna make some videos, and I'm gonna put it up, and that way people can research it for themselves. You know what I'm saying? So I always like to show sources. I always like to go to the website. And a lot of people love to go to Wikipedia. I say, okay, now if you can go Wikipedia and look up these little information and try to combine it with all this extra stuff, why can't you not just type this in and find out what this is? Exactly. So go ahead and just type that in, and you can find out, and look on the bottom of the page. You can find references at the bottom. You know what I'm saying? So I always want to make sure that people look at the reference, so that way it coincides and it, is parallel to the information that is presented in Wikipedia. And then I like to go to show other sources, other scholarly sources, other PDFs or whatnot. So that way it can, be a backup information or secondary sources to prove that primary source. So that's what I like to do. And I'm just a very passionate person. I love looking at information about history. I love looking at information about education. I'm starting to enjoy science. At one point in time, I wasn't really a science person because I felt like it was a complicated subject. Absolutely. But I'm trying to learn more and try to get more in tune and understand more about it. So yeah, that's just me. That's just my passion. I just want to be able to make sure that our people get a chance to actually go out and do more research. There's nothing wrong with what they're studying right now. It's good. Now, well, let me take that back. Some of the stuff. But anyways, for the most part, it's nothing wrong with what you're studying, because we all had our beginnings. You know what I'm saying? My beginnings, for me, I started off in religion. We all did. We started off with Christianity because we didn't, that's the way our grandmother and mothers raised us. You know what I'm saying? For most of us, if we grew up in the South, we was pretty much raised by our grandmothers, and a lot of us went to church. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us was either Baptist, Methodist, or Apostolic, whatever. So whatever your denomination is. And for me, that's how I grew up. I grew up in the Baptist church. And that's all I knew. All I knew was about Jesus Christ and stuff like that. And I remember my grandma used to have a picture of a white man hanging on her wall. And I used to be like, Grandma, is that God? She'll get on me. She'll be like, don't stop asking questions. Stop asking. You asking too many questions. You know what I'm saying? She couldn't really answer them. And I'd be like, Grandma, who is God? Where is God at? Does God exist? And she couldn't really answer. She'll say, yeah, God exists. I'd be like, where is he? She'll be like, stop asking all that question. You know what I'm saying? So, so she was a very heavily religious woman. She was very involved with the church. She always read the Bible and whatnot. So, but for me, I had to say, okay, let me get away from Christianity. I ended up staying with my mother, and my mother was Muslim at one point in time. She practiced Orthodox Islam, Sunni Islam. So I grew up into Islam as well. So, and I didn't, to be honest, in the beginning, I didn't like the Islamic religion. I did not like Islam because I thought it was very strict, especially when it came to women. I thought they was too strict on women. I thought they didn't give women a lot of leverage, and you know what I'm saying, give women rights.
Right.
I felt like the religion was giving more rights to men. Absolutely. But as I got older, I kind of understood some of the principles behind it. You know what I'm saying? Some of it just helped me to be wiser. I said, okay, now I get it. I understand a little bit better, even though I disagree with some of the concepts. And speaking of Islam, what people is going to find out, right, when it comes to our African ancestry, a lot of our ancestors from Central West Africa, like 15-30% of them were Muslims.
I'm just about to say.
Yeah, 15-30% of them they were Muslims.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
saying? And could recite the Quran
exactly
verbatim, and people don't even talk about that.
Exactly. There was one brother that I did that I forgot. I know he was a griot in Jamaica. I can't think his name right now off the top of my head, but it was said to be that that was his Duddy Buckman. That's his name, Duddy Buckman.
Okay, yeah, I seen that.
Duddy Buckman. Yeah. It was said to be that he was able to recite the entire Quran. He was a scholar of what they would call a sheikh.
Okay.
Right. So he was a sheikh, and he was able to recite the whole entire Quran. He memorized the whole book. And so, but getting back to that, a lot of them, like 15-30% of them were Muslims, and they also practiced their traditional African spiritual system along with that. You know what I'm saying? Some of them were Fulani, Yoruba, Akan, not Ifa, Mende, you know what I'm saying, Wolof. So a lot of them come from the Islamic background, and many of them converted. You know what I mean? So it wasn't just always that we had ancestors that was Christian, but we had those who were also Muslim, and then you have those who were, non-denominational or didn't practice either one.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but the point is, we all had to transcend it out of that, and we had to grow into that. I also studied the Hebrew Israelite at one point in time. I was a Hebrew Israelite. I was part of Yashavel's camp, Nazi Yashavel. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He had a temple called Shamarei HaTorah, so I was a part of that temple. They were non-Messianic Hebrews. They didn't believe in the concept about Jesus Christ, the New Testament or whatever. So I studied that for about 2 years, and then I left, and I just decided that, okay, I don't want to be confined to anything anymore. I want to be more free spirit, if you will. I want to be able to think outside the box and be able to study other ideologies, different philosophies, and learn. So yeah, I have been around people. I have been around the Nuwaubians. I never joined the Nuwaubian Nation, but they was one of the first people I encountered because they used to be downtown all the time, and they would, sell their books and have interaction debates with people. So, I interacted with them, and there was one of the brothers that I met who is now an ancestor. And he has helped me a lot. He has helped me through my growth. I also know Brother Ankh. You know who Brother Ankh is. Yeah. I also met Brother Ankh around that time. So, I've been knowing him for a while, and shout out to Ankh. I see that he's trying to do his thing, even though I have some disagreements with him about certain stuff, but I still got love for Ankh. And, the pseudo killers, I ain't got nothing to get some shout out to CK the boy. I see her, shout out to that beautiful sister. But yeah, so I just went through so many schools, and then I was able to meet Brother Ngozi. And Brother Ngozi pretty much introduced me to Team O.S.I.R.I.S. And from there, I connected and I stayed on top of things. So, and I'm still growing, I'm still learning.
Yeah, and you know what? I didn't realize that you were actually a part of Team O.S.I.R.I.S. I knew you knew him and was tight with him, but I didn't know you were actually a part of the team. So that's what's up. Because I had reached out to Melvin, and I was like, hey, I want to interview the sister too. He was like, yeah, and I mean, instantly, just like that. So he made a connection. So that's what's up.
Yeah.
So you basically kind of took a journey and sort of explored a few of the different spiritual traditions, and I guess trying to kind of find your place and just kind of figured out none of these might not be, you know, for me. Is that kind of how it turned out, or you just took what you could from each of them?
You know what? That's kind of like what it is, but for me, it was more so like a rite of passage.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? A rite of passage and being able to find the eldership, particularly another woman who's like an elder. And so I came across some good people. I came across people who were, you know, who I still have a connection with to this day. But for the most part, I have learned a lot by being around particularly males for the most part. And so some of the things I took with me, some of the things that helped me, it helped me to learn how to be proud of who I am as a Black woman. You know what I'm saying? And it helped open up doors of more opportunity to say that, okay, you know, you can be an African descendant person, and you can, you know, it's nothing wrong with claiming that part of you. You know what I'm saying? You know, because we have been taught to look down on ourselves, especially the African part of us. So it's like, anytime you say, oh, you're African or you're African in America, African American, it's like that, you know, it's a facial expression like, nah, I'm not now one of them people. Now, we must admit, yes, there were those of our ancestors that did play their part in the transatlantic slave trade, okay? They have done some conniving things, if you will. I mean, but, you know what I'm saying, you even find that in your own family. You know what I'm saying? You find that with people that you work with, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, at the end of the day, no matter what they did, you can't erase that genetic part of you. You know what I'm saying? That's just who you are. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Even when you take the DNA test, you know, which I have took 2 of them. I took 23andMe and I did Ancestry.com. And basically my lineage traced back to Central West Africa.
Okay. And
most of it is Nigerian. So I was like, okay, well, that's just what it is. That's just who I am. There ain't nothing you can do about it. You know what I'm saying? You just have to accept
both of them matched up. Because, you know,
yeah, for the most part, yeah, it's just a slight difference in the number, just a slight difference. Okay. But they pretty much similar. You know what I'm saying?
Because a lot of people will say, well, if you take 2 DNA tests, they're not gonna match to try to get, you know, and so that's why I asked that question.
No, it's not that they don't matter. What it is, okay, like 23andMe is a little bit more, it's a little bit more detailed than Ancestry. Okay. So, because 23andMe is not just going to give you your estimate as far as your composition is concerned, but it also tells you about your haplogroups. Like for me, because I carry the mitochondrial DNA, I can only know what my maternal haplogroup is. Okay. So I know it's like L1. It's in the L group. I know it's L1B2. I think something like that. So and so yeah. You know, that's all it is. It just that it's a little bit more detailed. And like with Ancestry, it doesn't go into the haplogroups like that. You know what I mean? So, and then also they do like updates on your DNA because, you know, they can discover, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes there could be errors where they can discover other things that's in your DNA component. That doesn't mean that your DNA changes. It still remains the same. It's just that they found more information, you know what I'm saying? So they have to update. And that's just what it is with science. Science constantly update information. It's always a constant research. It's nonstop. Exactly. So that's what people got to understand. You know, science is not just, okay, I'm just going to deal with this information and that's that and that's what it is. No, it's like, okay, there could be some more information that could debunk this source right here or debunk this claim right here. Or there could be more that should be added on to it. So it's just always an ongoing research. You just got to keep going researching. Just like when they go over there to ancient Egypt, right? I mean, go to Egypt and they do all the diggings, looking up the archaeologists. I mean, the archaeologists doing all their research and whatnot, and they find more skeletons, more mummies and whatnot. They have to update and they have to upgrade the information. You know what I'm saying? So that's just what it is. Yeah, but those people that talking a lot of times they have that ignorant. You know, they don't really know. They don't have the time to actually study. You have to make the time to study science. Like science is not something very easy to understand, especially when you're talking about biology. That's not very easy. You know what I'm saying? So even quantum physics is not very easy. So, but you have to really you have to take the time out and take the initiative to study on your own before you just jump to conclusion. You know, and a lot of people do that, and I know it's starting to be a trend. It's a trend. So
what I figured out is like, so I consider myself a student of history, but you can't do history without doing science.
Exactly. There you go.
Part and parcel. And so
exactly, there you go. Absolutely.
You can't avoid it. So it's like, okay, I got it. Cause I was like you, I didn't want to deal with science. I thought it was too complicated. But you can't avoid it when you're dealing with historical issues, because you got to apply the scientific method to a lot of what you're talking about. It ain't just figuring out when something happened, it's how it happened, what happened over time, and why this took place, why that took place. So yeah, it's definitely, you gotta get in tune with science, even if it's on a novice standpoint.
Right, exactly, because you deal with archaeological research, you got to deal with anthropology, which anthropology is really social science. Then you got to deal with the linguistic part of it. You know what I'm saying? When we talk about history, so it's a lot that goes into it. Like you said, science and history go hand in hand. You can't separate the two, because if you try to separate the two, then you're not going to be able to tell the story properly, right? Right. So you gotta bring those two together. You gotta bring those components together. Yep.
They go hand in hand. So one thing about your channel, and I told you this already, but I want to reiterate it for the audience. One thing that attracted me to your channel, you bring about history, but you're not coming from, like, I deal with a lot of history from ancient Africa, be it Kemet, Nubia, in that time frame, even with regards to going further down the Nile Valley, and that's kind of my wheelhouse. But a lot of people, if they don't have an interest in that, they ain't really relating to that. What I like about your channel is you bring it home to us. Like, these are people who, it's not too far in the past where we can look and say, man, I'm not too far removed from that person.
That's right.
Too far removed from that person. That's literally our history and our lineage here in this country. Like it or not, how we got here, that's part of our story. So that's one of the things I like about what you do. It's not coming from you kind of get in, you give your lesson, and you get out. It's not a bunch of back and forth and contention. It's basically, it's almost like a quick classroom. And so what gave you the the inspiration and the motivation to present your platform in that way?
Well, because as I mentioned before, I always like to bring evidence. One of the things that we mainly talk about, especially in Team O.S.I.R.I.S, is that we always need to use source as a backup, you know what I'm saying? So, and that's the most important thing, when we talk about the history, and when we dealing with, especially when we dealing with the history of our people, we want to make sure we bring the proof. Because I can sit up here and I could just babble off at the mouth, off the top of my head, and just make up stuff. And then it could sound good, but it's not true, or it's not factual. You know what I'm saying? And there are people that's doing that, making up stuff just to sound good, but you come to find out that information is inaccurate. So I want to make sure that I present the proper information as much as possible. Now, the only thing is I may not be able to find everything, it's because there's limited sources on certain individuals or certain events, but I even present those limited sources to people, and they can say, okay, I heard about this before. Okay, I've seen that source before. I know where to find it. I know where to look it up, and that's all I want to do. And that's the main thing, making sure people get the proper source and information, and they can also build upon it and share it with others. So I feel like we have been so far removed from our history, you know what I'm saying? Because what happened is we have not been really taught in secondary schools and some universities, but mostly secondary school, about who we were and what our ancestors were and what they do and all this other stuff. We haven't been taught that. So, you know, for me, I haven't been taught a lot of this stuff. Now, some of the stuff I'm familiar with, most of it I'm not. So I had to branch out and find out for myself. So at the end of the day, I'm not only teaching, and I wouldn't call it teaching, but I'm just sharing information. I wouldn't call it teaching because I don't see myself as really being a teacher. I'm just a person that like to share information. That's all. But when I'm sharing information,
that was very humble of you.
yeah, when I'm sharing information with others, I'm not only doing it for the audience, but I'm also doing it for myself. So that way I can enlighten myself and say that I'm more familiar and become accustomed to it, and be able to, you know, dig more into that information about the particular event or the people that took place in that time period. So what I try to do is in the chronological order. So I try to look at, okay, on this day, this is what happened, or this day, this person was born, this person died, and I look at the legacy, the history of that event or those individuals that took place and whatnot. And sometimes it may not be always chronological. I might be a day behind or 2 days behind or whatnot. So, and like I say, it's plethora information out there. It's so many. You know, I can't do them all at once.
Yeah.
So I have to do it within that time frame where it can be very conducive. You know, so I have to just kind of like bring it all in a very small frame of time, you know, between 30 minutes to an hour. Because if I try to put like 3 or 4 information out at once, then that's going to take me like 4 hours to do, 4 or 5 hours. And I can't do that because I got to be able to go to work. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I have a busy schedule and I have to make time out between my busy schedule so I can be able to do these things and be able to interact with the people.
Yeah, for the most part, I think that's the thing about it. When you actually trying to share information and you have a passion for just actually sharing information and edifying people and edifying yourself in the process, you kind of stretch yourself thin when you still have a day job, because you know we ain't necessarily making a living at this. We doing it because we have a passion for it.
Right,
so,
exactly.
Yeah, it's like, you know, I gotta get this in when I get time for it, but I gotta get it in because you know. And so, yeah, I definitely understand where you're coming from.
Right. And, you know, and then sometimes I'll put out my Cash App and I let people know, hey, if you would like to contribute or if you like what you're seeing, if you want to send donation, you're more than welcome to do so. So I don't, you know, say, hey, donate to me or do this and that and other. I give people that option because, as a matter of fact, there has been people that approach me in my inbox and on Facebook that say, hey, you need to put your Cash App up and, you know, let people go ahead and send some donation out because you deserve it. You know, you're doing what you got to do. You're doing what you're supposed to. And I don't have that many subscribers on my channel like that. I'm starting to build my channel up more. You know, I'm getting more subscribers coming in. But yeah, so there's people that like my content. There's people that share the content, and there's those that have sent some donation. I really appreciate that a lot. That really means a lot to me. So, you know, but like I said, it always come from the heart first. You know what I'm saying? I want to make sure people, you know, see that it come from the heart.
Yeah, we got a similar number of subscribers, so we both kind of in that building process. But I'm gonna tell you, that was another thing that I saw. I was like, you got the right idea, because I said I'm gonna start putting my Cash App in there too. Just, you know, because I think people recognize when you coming from a genuine place and you actually trying to do something positive for the people, and if they want to donate, they can. If they don't, you know, or they can't, that's fine. But it's not mandatory, but definitely put it in there. So that when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is on point. Let me take some notes. So, well, it's a popular. I'm not gonna say notion or theory. I don't know how proven or how factual it is because I haven't done a lot of research in it. And I don't know if you have any insight into it, but where some Christian apologists are saying that, because we was just talking about how a lot of our ancestors that came over as enslaved individuals were Muslims and were able to recite the Quran, etc. So there are some Christian apologists who are saying that our ancestors were already Christians when they got here, to dispel the notion that they got it from the slave master, that we got the Bible from the slave master. Not a lot of evidence has been put forth, but that's what's being thrown out there. People like, Dr. Vince Bantu, Damian Richards, some prominent, and these are some smart, intelligent, scholarly, PhD individuals who are putting these things forward. And so I'm like, I have yet to see any real evidence that was the case. I've seen it with Islam, but I haven't seen it with Christianity. And I was wondering, had you run into any evidence or any indication that was the case with regards to our ancestors coming off those shoes?
No, you pretty much said it. You know what I'm saying? What you saying is what I'm thinking. You know what I'm saying? That's, you just took it right out of my mouth. You know what I'm saying? I've heard about that. And like you, I have yet come across that information to prove otherwise. You know what I'm saying? I have yet came across that. Now, the only thing I can say is I heard about Coptic Christianity. Okay. Right. And that was more in Egypt.
Right.
That's what I know of, or that's what I heard of. But right. As far as Christianity in Central West Africa, I'm not very sure about that. Yeah. But it's very certain that Islam was practiced in Central West Africa before the slave masters came, because you had many of them that converted into Islam. Exactly. And to this day, Central West Africa is predominantly Islamic. Exactly. Most of them. Now, you got some parts in West Africa that's, practicing Christianity, right. But most of them are Muslims.
Yeah, I'm still just like lost as to where. Now, if they were talking about, Northeast or Eastern Africa, Ethiopia, and then, I would get it. But yeah, I'm just like, I gotta see. I meant to ask Chris Harris about it. And,
yeah, maybe you can ask Chris.
I'm gonna have to ask him, because I'm like, I don't understand where this is coming from. So
yeah, because he can tell you better than I can, because I'm not sure. I have not seen any evidence or any anthropological facts about Christianity in West Africa in the central area. So I have yet to came across the anthropology about that. But like I said, Islam, yes, and this ain't, I can show proof about that. Right. There's plenty of books.
There's plenty of sources. That's well documented.
As a matter of fact, those who were slaves, right, they gave their account as Muslims, right? And then, like, for example, blues. A lot of people don't know that blues was influenced by Islam. By the Muslim.
Break that down.
Yeah.
Because that I didn't know.
Yeah, blues was influenced by the Muslim, because, the Muslims, I think it's because the element of the recitation of the Quran, like how they recite, how they harmonize and stuff like that. Yeah. So, I didn't know that myself until I did the research. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that blues had, Islam had the influence, the Muslim had the influence on blues, or like kind of compose it, I didn't know that. But yeah, you can find counsel there. There was one brother, his name is Ibrahim Sardi. All right, he was from what's the country called? Guinea-Bissau? What's the name of the country? Is it Guinea? Or Guinea-Bissau? I think it's Guinea-Bissau. That's what it's called now. But he was from that region, okay? And actually, he was a prince.
Wow.
So what happened was he wasn't supposed to be in slavery. However, when the Europeans came over there to that country, they ended up putting him on the boat anyhow. He was like, no, I'm a prince. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be on the ship with you guys. He was like, they were like, well, you got to come anyways. So they sent him to Mississippi, and he was there for 40 years. So he left us he left Guinea-Bissau at 25 years old, came to Mississippi, and they had him enslaved for 40 years. And then he was on his way back to Africa. So he ended up dying in Liberia instead. He didn't ever go back to his native homeland.
So he didn't get back to Africa till he was 65.
Right.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And that's the thing that I think get lost on us as a people, the tragedy of being taken from our homeland and having another people's culture super, because it's one thing to convert to Islam or even to convert to Christianity of your own free will. It's another thing for people to superimpose their spiritual belief on you, their culture on you, and all of that. And you don't have a choice but to line up with what they want you to do or fear being beaten. Fear
and see,
right.
And that's pretty much what happened with a lot of people that came over here. You know, Christianity is a very dominant religion here in America. So when the people that was owning slaves, they were Christians.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of them, some of them were forced to convert into Christianity, and then there were those of them that did it, but they mixed their African tradition together, which is why you got Santeria, you got Voodoo, you got Obia. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a mixture. It's the syncretism. You know what I'm saying? They did it so they can keep up with their ancestral African spiritual practice, you know, and they just went on ahead and just blended in with or creolized it with the Abrahamic religion. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so in some cases there were those who were forced against their own will to practice, and then there were those who just said, okay, if I convert into this Abrahamic religion or Christianity, I will earn my freedom.
Right. Yeah, because a lot of people don't know that it was illegal to enslave another Christian. So if you converted to Christianity, they would have to set you free. And then they flipped the script. Yeah. Said, wait a minute. No, we gotta change that. And so,
exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
And then also it was illegal for a lot of them to practice their African spiritual system as well. So like Obia was considered as illegal because they thought that was nothing more than the devil's work and witchcrafting. Voodoo, Santeria, they were all considered as witchcraft or work, or devil worshiping. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you talk about ancestor veneration.
Speaking of, let me ask you about this because I got he a good brother. I mean, real good brother. He a Christian. He come on and contribute to the channel, but. And I know that it got a lot to do with Christian indoctrination, but when you talk about the Yoruba tradition, or the Orishas, we talk about how bad it is and how evil it is, and it's like I'm trying to figure out like where is this coming from outside of the fact that that's what he's been taught as a Christian. Speak on that if you
just answer your own question. You just answer it. You just answer it right there. That last statement, you just said it. You just said it. He was taught that. He was taught that it was evil. Other than that, he would have never known that it was evil if he was never taught that.
Okay.
You know? And in some parts of Islamic religion, they teach that some of that stuff is the devil worship or the worship of Shaitan. You know what I mean? So, you know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of the Abrahamic religion, they despise against the African spiritual system. You know what I'm saying? Because they feel like it's devil worshiping and you're not worshiping God. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to go above God, or you're trying to do things that's against God, or whatever the case may be. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of them have been indoctrinated to believe that. And because of that indoctrination, it hinders their ability to be able to think outside the box and be able to learn and study what these systems really about. And they're not what you really think they are. Now, anybody can do evil stuff. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to practice voodoo to be evil. You don't have to be part of Santeria. You don't have to be a part of the Obia. You know what I'm saying? You can do evil stuff. You got Christian that do evil stuff.
Absolutely.
Okay. You got Muslim that do evil stuff. You got people who are Jews that do a lot of evil things. You know, it's about the mentality of the person. Right. It's about the person's behavior. It's not about the religion in itself. Because at the end of the day, they're all ideologies, okay? They're all philosophy. They're all different schools of thoughts, all right? It's just based on the person's behavior and how they use it and how they go about bringing about the interpretation. Absolutely. You know what I mean? So that's why it kind of like, with the atheists, I can understand where they're coming from. I can understand how they feel. Okay, I get what they coming from as far as religion concerned, but you can't solely blame it on a particular religion. You have to blame it on those individuals that's practicing those religion or these religion, how they going by using them. Because at the end of the day, they're still philosophy. They just ideologies. It's just about the mindset of the person. So just because somebody could claim that they're Muslim, yeah, that's just a title that you claiming. But do you live up that title as a Muslim? Where's your mentality at? You could claim to be a Christian. That's just a title. Judaism is a title. So your character is what matters the most. Your behavior is what matters the most. Your mind is what matters the most.
Absolutely. And I tell people all the time, and it's funny, my wife is still a Christian. And okay. You know, early on when I moved away from Christianity, it was a struggle, and still sometimes it's a struggle. But yeah, she acknowledged on one hand that I'm better in terms of, because you know we got married. I'm 44. We got married when I was 20.
Oh wow, y'all been together for a long time.
Yeah, I've been knowing my wife since I was in the 2nd grade. So
oh wow, that's a blessing.
Each other our whole life, but. So she acknowledged that she can see a positive change, but at the same time, she acknowledges that she can't help but be concerned because she fear for what's gonna happen when I transition. My thing to her is always, and any other person who share that same sentiment, let's worry about now. We can't worry about what's gonna happen when.
That's right.
When you know in the hereafter, and it's like it's always an interesting dichotomy to me that somebody can acknowledge that you a better person for doing the opposite of what they do, but it's still a concern about something that hasn't happened yet. You worried about what's gonna happen when I die.
Right. Exactly.
I'm saying let's worry about the here and now, and so.
Yeah.
And I think it's this preoccupation with the afterlife and the hereafter, and it ultimately come down to me to a fear of death, and you know, and really a fear of living. If because when you overly concerned about what's gonna happen when you die, then you really you can't be enjoying life because. You too preoccupied with what's gonna happen when you die.
Right.
And so yeah, it's kind of crazy to me. But you know, I build with a lot of good Christian brothers. We have, you know, good dialogues back and forth, and I think it's a good thing to not close that door. You know, for me, the door is closed for me being a Christian, but it's not. I don't think it'll be productive to close that door to never have a conversation with them, because I think you can still build with them. You can still have constructive conversations, and you can still have a good back and forth as to why we can agree to disagree without being, as I say, disrespectfully, you know, disagreeable. But let me ask you about a topic as a woman, and because I'm getting ready to have a debate on my channel Friday. Between two sisters, and it's a controversial topic, but I'm curious to see how you feel about it as it pertains to abortion.
I knew that. I knew it. I knew you was gonna bring that up.
Yeah.
That's the topic that don't nobody really want to talk about.
They don't want to talk about it,
they
but
don't really want to have because and I understand that for a lot of people it's very sensitive. It's a very sensitive topic for some, and it can bring out so many emotions.
Right.
Now where I stand on abortion, I personally don't agree with abortion unless it's emergency purpose. So in a case where, there's a family member that impregnates someone, or let's say someone was raped, or if there's medical issues taking place, then I can understand there's a reason for you to have the abortion because, those are serious issues. Who wants to be impregnated by their family member?
Now let me stop you because me and you are in complete agreement because my thing is if a young woman is molested or a young girl is molested by a family member or whoever she's molested and that molestation results in a pregnancy or a woman is raped.
Yeah.
Or the child having the child will threaten the woman's life. Then to me, it's open and shut. The reason for this debate is because I have a Christian sister and I got a couple of Christian brothers who say it don't matter. If you molested, had a baby and give it up for adoption. If you raped, had a baby and they dead serious. And the funny thing to me is there's no compromise about it. And so my position is this. I always have, I got 4 daughters, 2 grown, 2 still in the house. And then my son is the youngest. He only 13.
Okay.
Hopefully he ain't getting nobody pregnant no time soon. But I also I got 2 grandkids. I got a daughter that's, married with children. So I'm like, what if it was my daughter? And you gonna stand in front of her and tell her what she should do in the situation where she was violated? And that really sticks in my, and I'm just like, nah, that's not happening. And so I can't remove myself from that mind frame, even if it could be my granddaughter. And you're gonna tell me some monster violated them, and because and this is the other part that really get me. I've seen my wife give birth to all my kids, and that's a harrowing process. Carrying a child, going through labor, that's a life-threatening situation. You can die in childbirth, and you actually do that. But regardless if she wants to or not, that I don't know how you fix your mouth to say that. And so I asked, we having this conversation in this back chat group. And so I asked a question. I say, how many of y'all gonna be lining up if they outlaw abortion? How many of y'all gonna be lined up to get to adopt these kids that y'all telling these women they should just have no matter what? No, nobody volunteered. And so I'm like, one person said if I was financially able and, well, you're not financially able, so that don't count. So to me, ultimately, you just talking rhetoric for the sake of talking rhetoric. Because if a woman is violated, she has every right to make a decision on what she's going to do with the rest of her life. Now, if she want to have a child, bless her heart. But if she don't, who am I and anybody else to say what she should and shouldn't do? That's crazy to me. So yeah, I definitely wanted to get your
right. Yeah, in that instance, what I'm saying, now if she made that choice to have the child after she's been violated, then what I'm saying, that's her choice. But yeah, I believe that in those 3 cases, that's when it should be necessary. Now, this is where I kind of understand some people that might say, well, it may not be a good idea for you to do that because there's somebody that might be considering to want to adopt a child. I can kind of understand their position, but at the end of the day, when it comes to that, she's still going to make her choice. You know what I'm saying? Especially if she's been violated, she's still going to make that choice. Now, what I don't agree about abortion is the fact that there's people that use it as a form of birth control. That's the problem. That's like, to me, This is me talking. That's not a form of birth control, okay? That's a case of emergency. That's what abortion should be used for, in case of emergency, not for you to go out here and go to the clinic and then go back and have sex again, then go to the clinic. Exactly. And then in some financial situation, now this is when it becomes a really, really serious debate right here. The financial part. Well, what if I can't afford to take care of this child, this, that, and other? Okay, for me, I still don't think it's a legitimate reason, because this is how I look at it. If you knew that you was not in the financial position to take care of the child, then you should think twice before you considering to give it up. You know what I'm saying? Even if you use contraception, even with contraception, it doesn't always work 100% of the time, because it's not always a guarantee that you're going to prevent pregnancy or STDs. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's still some possibility and chances out there. So you have to be wise as far as what you're doing, as far as like who you're engaging in sexual activity with. You know what I'm saying? You know, because if you're going out here having sex, and then you aborting every time you're having sex just because you mad at the guy, or because you want to keep your body figure up, or because you want to continue to go out here and indulge into sexual activity, then, you know what I'm saying, at some point in time, you're going to think to yourself like, dang, what was I thinking? I mean, why do I keep on doing this? Something's going on psychologically. Exactly. Keep doing it.
Now, I'm gonna say this, and I want to get your input on this, because this is another part of that conversation that I think that gets under my skin. As men, I really feel like we really should stay out of that conversation, because let's just say I get a woman pregnant, or me and a woman get pregnant, as they say, and she say, hey, I'm not having this child, I'm going to get an abortion. And I say, wait a minute. You know, don't abort the baby, I'll raise it. If she want to get that abortion, she getting it, and there ain't nothing I can do. Nothing. I have no say, no rights, no nothing. It's done. If I say, hey, listen, this is not what I bargained for, I don't want that child, I'm sorry, you know, this is not what that was with me and you. And she say, hold on, wait a minute. No, I'm having this baby. She having it. And so as men, I don't know why we even get up in arms about the abortion conversation, because we have no say, no rights, even though if she decide to have the child, we on the hook for 18 to 21 years for child support, whether we wanted this child or not. We got to step up to the plate and be a man and provide for that child, whether it's just financially or not. But 9 times out of 10, if we don't want to deal with the deadbeat dad label, even though we done made it clear that's not what we was in this for, even though you're having sex, but that's a whole different conversation. But we got to step up to the plate and be a man, even though we making it clear that's not what we was in this for. However, if she say, hey, I ain't having it, and I'm saying, hey, no, I want it, you just have it and give it to me. She like, nah, that's, so my thing is, I don't know why until men start fighting for their rights for the unborn child, I don't know why they having that conversation. What's your take?
Okay, well, you know what? It's gonna always be a conversation between male and females. Now, let's say if you're a couple, okay, well, you know, you're married. Right. But let's give a hypothetical example. Let's say the couple find out they're gonna have a baby. And the father, he becomes so happy. He's so proud. He's like, oh my God, I'm finna have this baby. You know, he tells his family about it. Then the next following week, he finds out that the woman got rid of the child. Now, to me, that's conniving. I'm gonna tell you why I say that's conniving, because if y'all need to, first of all, if you're gonna make that kind of decision, sit down and talk it out. First and foremost, you know what I'm saying? So that you both can have an understanding, be on the same agreement or same accord with each other. You know what I mean? But that's just very hurtful. Especially if you in this relationship with this man, you love this man and y'all want to have a family, but then all of a sudden you change up on him and you decide to get rid of the baby, and you come back and tell him next week, oh, I got rid of the child. That would crush him. You know what I'm saying? That would really devastate him because it's like, wow, he was preparing for all this and you got rid of the seed. So I just think that that's just pretty conniving in my book. You know what I'm saying? You know, before you make that decision, make sure y'all have a clear understanding. Make sure y'all be on the common ground with each other, and then you can make that decision. If that's what you're gonna do, you know, but don't just go behind somebody's back and just do that. That's just not right. You know what I'm saying? And also about the man, as far as he's saying, hey, I didn't want no baby with you, you know, I just want to get out. Well, understand this, you're dealing with nature, okay? That's nature. You know what I'm saying? So
real talk.
There's a possibility chance that that woman is going to become pregnant. So whether you wear rubber or not, there's still a chance. If she's ovulating, she's going to end up pregnant. You know what I mean?
You put your destiny in her hands.
Exactly. So, you know what I'm saying? A lot of children was born, a lot of us was born out of wedlock. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us. You know what I'm saying? Then you got a lot of us that were born to parents who were in a relationship, who was married particularly. So, you know what I mean? So, you got a lot of kids that are quote unquote illegitimate.
Right.
I don't like the term illegitimate, but that's what they're considered to be. And it's very painful that they have to go through the process now, that because their mother had them, but the father doesn't want to have anything to do with them because he doesn't want to disappoint his wife, or his wife is all up in his ear telling him, yeah, you know, I don't want that child around, this, that, and other. I don't want that baby around. But it's like this with the wife. I understand how she will feel because he had an affair with another woman. But if you forgave him, right, and you took him back, you should be able to accept the fact that he has a child. You know what I'm saying? He has another responsibility. You know, you can't take him away from taking care of his responsibility as a father with the other kids. That's not fair, because now when that kid come around his other sibling or her other siblings, then it's going to create some type of conflict because they're like, oh, that's daddy's child. That's daddy kid.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's his kid. That's not my brother and sister. You know, I don't really claim them because we ain't grew up in the same household together. Right. So it's like, and it's very common, especially like, let's say, you know, if you have the same mother, but you have different fathers, 9 times out of 10, y'all going to be very close. All right. Y'all going to consider each other as brothers and sisters. But if you have the same father, but have different mothers, then it's very problematic. It's conflicting because you don't get the chance to see daddy very often. Like a couple of siblings over here might get the chance to see him, but that sibling over there don't see him at all. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So it creates a problem right there. It's a friction. You know what I mean?
It's definitely a issue. You know, I tell people I didn't grow up in a broken home. I grew up in a home that was never intact because my parents never got married, never lived together, none of that.
Right.
And my father, I have a brother. I turned 44 in October. Mm-hmm. I got a brother that turned 43 in October. Mm-hmm. So we exactly a year apart, but we got different mothers. You know,
right. You know, I understand. It's cool. It's no problem. Yeah, you know, you just gotta. People see. Here's the thing. We always operate from the emotional standpoint. All right, on the egotistical standpoint. So the first thing we want, we just want that feeling. We want to feel good. We want the passion. So you ain't thinking about nothing else. You know what I'm saying? You know, you're not thinking about the consequences that might happen, the repercussion behind it. You just want it right then and there. But then when the reality kicks in, that's when you start to like think, oh my God, what was I thinking? Oh my goodness. I regret doing that. So I'm not taking away people's right to engage into sexual activity. That's what you choose to do. What you do is your business, but be wise. Yeah. You know, you better think about it before you just jump into bed with somebody, especially someone that's a total stranger. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Because if something takes place and once that reality kick in, it's going to kick in. You know what I'm saying? You better think and you better make sure. You better be like, okay, well, should I be doing this to this person? Do I really want to have sex with this person? Do I really want to lay up with them? And do I want to open my legs to them?
I
or
think
should I just keep it moving?
sometimes we don't going through that procedure. It may affect your ability to have a child going forward too, and that's an aspect that we don't really talk about a lot. But that could happen as well. So, you know, it's a lot of things that go into that decision to go through that procedure. Never mind Margaret Sanger and why she even decided to start that whole, you know what I mean? Like it's like I think if every Black person really knew about that particular aspect of how she came up with that and why she came up with that, I think they would really think twice about it.
Right.
So, you know, yeah, it's a lot that have to go into that. But
with that being the topic of debate, that's very interesting. Is like I say, it's very controversial because you have to get deep into the emotional aspect of it. That's why I say it's so controversial, because especially when you're dealing with the women and it's two women talking amongst themselves or, you know, debate each other.
I'm even letting the woman moderate it. I said, I don't even want to moderate.
Because it may lay out some, you know what I'm saying, some tension, like, hey, right. Yeah, I did this, you know, you can't tell me what to do, whoop-de-woo, this is my body, whoop-de-woo, and then the other person like, well, you know, yeah, this might be your body, but this is the consequences that you're gonna have to face later on, da-da-da-da. So it brings a major conflict. Like out here in Georgia, they had a thing about the heartbeat bill. And so once, like, I guess, I think, what is it? The bill was basically like, if you're like 3 weeks or a month pregnant or something, like you can have an abortion, but after that you can't have an abortion or something in that nature. I can't exactly remember. But yeah, so the heartbeat bill, everybody was just like all arms about it. And so, you know, it created a serious debate. You know what I'm saying? So it became so touchy to that where now you going into the emotional aspect, and now that you go into the emotional aspect, it's like you done strike a nerve right there. So yeah, it was like an ongoing debate about it. But I mean, I gave my views on it. I did my little video about it on Facebook. I spoke on how I felt on it, and you know, I left it at that. So so I wish them both luck, and hopefully, you know, they can come to some understanding and being able to, you know, put aside their differences. Hopefully, they don't get too personal to where they dislike each other or anything like that. So I'm not really a pro-choice individual. I'm more a pro-life. Okay. But at the end of the day, a female is going to make her decision. So you can't really stop her. If she's going to go out there and do it, if she's going to go to the clinic and do it, she's going to do it, or she's going to find some type of way to do something. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, one of the common arguments about abortion is it murder? Well, technically speaking,
you read my mind, because that's the next question.
Technically speaking, it is murder. Technically speaking, because it's called feticide, and that's the term they use in the criminal justice field to describe an incident where a woman, let's say a woman done got shot, right, and she was pregnant. So if you kill her and the child, then they'll call it double homicide, and they consider that as feticide because you done killed the unborn fetus.
Wow.
So by you killing the unborn fetus, that's abortion. That's what abortion is, but it's legalized. You're killing an unborn fetus. And people want to argue that, no, you're not killing the fetus. Well, if you're not killing it, then why these fetus are not here today to tell their stories? If you're not killing it. So, and then once the baby's heart beat, I think baby hearts beat around approximately a month, or that's like 25 days. Once that baby heartbeat, then there's life in that baby's body. So right then and there, you cutting off the process. You terminating the process. So you basically done killed it off. You know what I mean? So you don't want to call it murder. You don't want to call it killing. You want to try to use other technical terms, but that's just what abortion is. Abortion is, technically murder. I mean, I'm sorry. I can't sugarcoat it.
Hey, it is what it is. So
you know what I'm saying? I can't sugarcoat it.
let me ask you this, because part of the debate is from a Christian standpoint, because the sister is a Christian and then the other sister is a Kemetic sister.
Okay.
One sister is saying from the standpoint of being a Christian, abortion is wrong. And so now part of my position, if I was debating, and I can't say what the sister gonna do, but if I was debating, do you think as a Christian who believes in the God of the Bible, and I'm sure you know the Bible as I do, particularly from an Old Testament standpoint, do you think that's even that even had grounds to stand on with regards to talk about abortion, considering some of the doctrine and the stories that we see take place in the Bible, either at the hands of God or by his orders with regards to what he tell his chosen people to do?
You know what? You can't see, here's the thing. A lot of people refer back to their doctrines, their books, to justify the reason. And you can't just do that. You know what I'm saying? You have to be able to come up with other information besides just using religion ideologies or the Bible. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to come up with other reasons. You know what I'm saying? You have to be able to, you can't say, well, abortion is wrong because God says wrong. You know what I'm saying? That's not really a legitimate argument. So you got to come with a stronger argument to validate your point. Because if you just going to say, well, the Bible says this, then you're really not presenting a strong argument there.
Exactly.
So that's not a strong argument. That's not, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't complete the point. You know what I'm saying? You're only referencing what the scripture is saying or a book is saying, but you're not giving the account from your logic why you believe that this is wrong or why you disagree with it. You know what I'm saying? You keep going back to the book. Well, we're not asking what the book said. We're asking, why do you disagree with it as a person? Where is your logic at?
That's a great point. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's real too. Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting debate. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And I think both sisters bring a lot to the table. I think I'm just curious as to how the moderator gonna keep it from getting personal, and hopefully it won't. But it always got the potential to get that way when you're dealing with such a polarizing topic. So
yeah, a very sensitive topic. Yeah,
absolutely. So hopefully she'll be able to keep things intact. So now this is my last question. And
okay.
I think this was a good bill. I definitely enjoyed talking to you, and hopefully we'll be able to do it again. With regards to your channel and how you see it progressing in the future, what are some of the different routes you feel like you may take with it with regards to edifying and educating people?
Well, for me, I'm looking to hopefully get more people on the platform that I can interview, those who are, maybe someday I'll do debates, maybe, you know what I'm saying? But I want to get those who are more into scholarly information, those who are more into the aspect in the field, especially those who deals with African-American history, West African history, Central West Africa, and also those who are into science, philosophy, sociology, psychology, so that way I can get their viewpoints on things and be able to have a discussion with them, and they can help teach the people whatever information that I'm lacking in and that I'm not aware of. So yeah, that's what I'm hoping to do, get more people on the platform and be able to have a dialogue and have an interview about, various subject matters and social issues and things of that nature, and also deal with economics, because that's important, what I'm saying, especially when we talk about business in our community. So that's the next step, but I'm just taking baby steps at a time.
Yeah.
Now, I done had some people on there, but for the most part, it's been me. So,
Okay. Yeah.
so I'm still taking some baby steps at a time. But yeah, I'm looking to do that in the future. And if I'm looking forward to doing more debates, because I had a little debate on my page, but I don't know if I should call it a debate. But if I have a debate, I want to make sure that I have those who are, very scholarly on both ends, both those who are pretty much, intellectual, what I'm saying, and being able to know how to have an agreement and disagreement without creating a bunch of tension.
Exactly.
And bunch of chaos, a bunch of, threats and all this other stuff, because I don't want all that. I don't want all that negative energy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm hoping to do in the future. Yeah, just grow from that way, just having interviews and having those who are scholars, and then hopefully have some debates, some more proper debates going on.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think you're on the right track. Like I say, everything I saw so far been impressive. I definitely learned some things. So I love to see you debate. I don't know what topic it'll be, but I'll definitely be tuned in.
You want to see me debate?
Oh, absolutely. So because that's kind of my.
I'm not a. How can I say this? I'm a debater, but I'm not a very strong debater, because I have to work on that skill of debating.
Okay.
You got to work on that art, because when you're debating, one of the things that hinders people that debates is the fact that they use the ad hominem.
Yeah.
Personal attacks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like getting their feelings, and you can't really get in your feelings like that when you're debating somebody, especially it was a subject that you chose to debate on.
Exactly.
So you have to come from a scholarly point of view and not use so much of your emotions. You see what I mean? So you have to always be able to deal from a scholastic standpoint, be able to show the evidence, walk people through it, and be able to explain it and all that good stuff. So for me, it could be a challenge, because the level of patience I have with certain individuals and some of the things they say just make me want to just say something out the way to them, what I'm saying, name calling and stuff. So I just try to just say, okay, well, you know what, maybe I need to work on that before I even try to step into that arena. Because again, when you debate, you got to be more polished about it. You got to be able to explain your argument. You can't just speak from an emotional standpoint. You got to be able to speak from a logic standpoint and be able to back it up with the sources. And you got to be able to do it in a timely manner. You can't just talk for a very long time. You know what I'm saying? You can't talk over people's head, and you know what I'm saying? You got to be able to do it in a timely manner and be able to explain it step by step, so people can be able to be in line and be be attentive, because you got those who have short attention span.
Absolutely.
So they cannot sit around and just watch a video for 4 or 5 hours. I've seen debates that last for 4 or 5 hours or 6 hours, and I'll be like, God dang, like, come on, man, y'all. Right. Like, you can't do that. So you gotta look at how you're gonna put your PowerPoint together or your presentation together within that time frame. Exactly. And be able to, how you're going to present it to the people, and what type of tone are you going to use, and what type of wording are you going to use. I mean, of course, there's nothing wrong with using a little slang here and there, but you don't want to always use a bunch of slang all the time. You want to be able to be a little more, strongly articulating, and, use some different vernaculars and whatnot, develop stronger vocabulary and things like that. So it's a lot of things I would have to work on. I would have to really learn how to get my debating skills together. You know what I'm saying?
Well, your team is coming up with that debate university. I forget, and I'm gonna have to ask him. Did he call it a debate university or a debate league. I don't think
You know,
it's
Solomon Debate League.
no. This is a Team O.S.I.R.I.S. Yeah, it's
Oh, okay. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So that, you know, that might be an opportunity for you to kind of get your feet wet. I'm gonna try to dip my toe in there a little bit, you know, once everything get
Yeah. Now we got some great debaters on
yeah,
Team O.S.I.R.I.S,
yeah,
you know, and Gozy and
yeah,
Chris, you know, Melvin,
yeah.
Brother Consul himself.
Chris be I was listening to him early on Dagger Squad. I was like, man, this dude, why is you doing this dude like this, man? Because
Yeah, he's very powerful, and you know what? His memory skill is very dynamic. Him and Gozy got some very strong memory.
yeah, and
You know what I'm
goes
saying? And Gozy can tell you stuff just from the top of his head. He ain't even got to look at the book because that's how knowledgeable he is. You know, he's like, he's just very nerdy to me. I call him the ghetto nerd, the hood nerd, because you know he's hood, but he's nerdy at the same time. You know what I'm saying? He's a genius when it comes to studying science. You know, especially when it comes to that biology. If you got any question about biology, and Gozy will be the person that can break it down.
Okay.
Just like that. Like he can just break it down off the top of his head. That I'm like, wow, that takes a lot of research. Man. Somebody who on that level, that means you gotta take like at least a year or two to actually, you know, get to where it goes in his head to understand where it goes he's talking about.
I was looking at his debate with Zion Lex. I was like, oh man, this dude.
Because he'll have the room quiet. He'll have you quiet. You'll just be like, That's how powerful he is. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so that's why a lot of people admire him so much, because his strong vernacular and his ability to be able to gravitate towards the audience. You know, he uses a certain type of tone where he can gravitate towards the people. You know what I'm saying? So people can really listen to him and they be like, wow, this man is powerful. This man right here, this brother here, oh my goodness. You know, same way with Consul, you know, he's very powerful. I mean, Consul don't really do a lot of debating, but, you know, he's like more into teaching. But, you know, the man just has some very powerful skills. I mean, he's very articulate, very strong.
Just listen to him. Listen to him talk. Just like,
right.
Yeah, it's like, man, I think Team O.S.I.R.I.S is probably to me, the top teachers in the community. Just
right.
On just pound for pound, you know, and that's just my opinion. But
when I first heard Chris debated on, was it Solomon Debate League, I was like, wow, this dude here. I'm like, this dude right here, he's so intelligent. Like especially when it comes about the Hebrew Israelite history.
Yeah,
he's on point. He's like, I'm like, wow, oh my goodness.
First time I heard him was on Dagger Squad. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna reach out to this brother. and he real humble, hit me right back. Was like, yeah, I'm gonna come on your channel. I'm gonna bring Team O.S.I.R.I.S. Next thing you know, he brought Team O.S.I.R.I.S. I was like, you know, because you know how some people will say they're gonna do something, and then you'd be like, you know, he was like, hey, bro, I got the team. Remember, I was like, oh, okay, because
and we got so many other members on there that, you know, that don't really be around like that, but they are very scholarly too. They very, you know, we got some powerful people on there. I can tell you that. I mean, you got some that deals with psychology, neuroscience, some that deals with Central West African history, some that deals with ancient Egyptian history, and then you got those who deal with the science, economics, spirituality. Oh yeah, so it's a combination.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to, now that I'm in that group, I'm definitely looking forward to, I'll be looking at everybody's stuff. I'll be like, man.
You in the Team O.S.I.R.I.S group?
Yeah, I just be looking Facebook? Like, what am I going to stop on? You know?
It's a lot of information on it. Yes, they post up a lot of great information. You know, they have a lot of great discussion. You know, then you got Brother Triz, a very powerful brother. He can talk a lot about nutrition, diet, you know, stuff like that. I mean, you know, everybody have their own lane where they good at. So Me, I'm developing my lane. You know,
Yeah.
I really like to deal with sociology for the most part and
Okay.
psychology. That's my main thing. Like when I went to school, I studied sociology. I never got a degree, but that was my major, and ever since then, that's just stuck with me. So a part of that I do on my channel, it has a lot, like I said, it has a lot to do with history and sociology in combined because I just want to learn about social interaction, people, classes, and whatnot. And I have a list of books that's carrying more into that subject, deal with the psychology and sociology field. And of course, I got books that's dealing with history, but
Yeah.
yeah, I have a lot of books that I have to catch up reading on.
Yeah, that's where I saw your page. I saw a brother Melvin. He shared it, and I was like, oh, let me click on this. And then I was looking. I was like, okay, I subscribed. Then I started catching. I was like, oh man, I need to interview this sister. And that's
Yeah,
kind of how that. And then, like I say, you just see the brothers and sisters posting in the group. You be like, man, I don't know what to click on.
yeah.
And so, and yeah, I reached out to the brother. I'm doing a PowerPoint. It'll be up Sunday on pre-dynastic and the beginning of dynastic Kemet. And I reached out to brother Melvin. I was like, hey man, I need any info you got on Norma and his origins. I mean, the brother shot me like files and files of info. I mean, just bam, bam, bam. I'm like, man.
Oh yeah, oh yes, Melvin on top of that.
Point,
Yes.
on point.
There's a group on Team O.S.I.R.I.S called the Knowledge Public Library.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean on Facebook. I'm sorry. Yeah, Knowledge Public Library. That's the name of it. So yeah, and there's a lot of information. Yeah, Melvin. Yes, he he calls her the Grand Archivist.
Yeah, he live up to that. So
Yeah, so he always present that source. I mean, he that guy.
yeah, so
He's that
yeah,
guy for
he
real.
definitely gave me some sources, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna throw that up Sunday because I got some opposition that I need to show some info to. So
Oh yeah.
we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and throw that down and see what's what. But yeah, let everybody know, where they can find you, where your channel is, Facebook, Cash App, everything you want.
Okay. So all right. So my Facebook is Tiffany L French. You can find me on Facebook. Actually, I have two Facebook pages, but I be on my main one, which is Tiffany L French, and then I have another one, which is Tiffany L French the second. The ones with the Roman numerals, the two L's. So you can find me there. Let's see. You can also find me on YouTube, which is Tiffany French. That's my YouTube channel. Just type in Tiffany French. And also I have a Twitter account, which is Miss French 89. I also have an Instagram account, which is Tiffany French 1989. Then I also have a Cash Out, which is $ tip, capital T, lowercase I, lowercase p, capital WORLD. The rest is all lowercase. So it's $ TipWorld. I'm gonna repeat again. The $ symbol, capital T, lowercase I, lowercase p, capital W, lowercase o, lowercase r, lowercase l, lowercase d. So yep, that's my Cash App information. But yeah, you can mainly find me on Facebook and YouTube. So yeah, make sure you just log in, just type in my name and my picture will pop up on Facebook, and type in my YouTube information and it will pop up on YouTube. So just type in my name.
That'll work. And family, I'm gonna put a link to her. Well, I'm gonna put her Cash App in the description of the video, and then I'm gonna put a link to one of her videos in the description as well. So be looking for that. But yeah, link. Subscribe to our sister channel. Check her out. She got some powerful info. I mean, definitely educational, edifying to the people. So please support our sister. Throw some money in that Cash App. She deserves it. So she definitely deserve our support. She bringing some education that we rarely get. They not teaching it to us, and so she edifying us for sure. So definitely support her, and you know, it is what it is. She represents Team O.S.I.R.I.S. Check her out, and we're gonna get out of here, but she'll be back again. Hopefully we'll get her back for another interview, and eventually get her on and have a debate and knock some cats upside the head with some knowledge.
Oh boy, yeah, that I gotta prepare myself. I gotta be mentally prepared. You know what I'm saying? I gotta be scholarly prepared. I got it's a preparation behind it when we talking about debates.
No doubt. You gonna get there. I have no doubts. No doubt. Especially with the team you got. So
yeah.
So yeah, we definitely gonna be looking forward to chopping it up with you again. And like I said, family, check her out, support her, subscribe to that page, and throw some money in that Cash App. So
all right, thank you guys, and thank you for having me on here. I really appreciate that. I enjoyed this interview with you. Be honest,
absolutely, yeah, it was
I
definitely
enjoyed
a
the
good
dialogue.
build.
It was great.
Absolutely. So yeah, this has been another episode of Paradigm Shift TV 314. This is your brother Pianki Patamatulu Nefer Amon Ra. That's the Queen Tiffany French, and we out. That's peace.
All right.